whenever you're surfing over here in the West, there's always like those little moments where you kind of look down beneath you. I don't think I've ever had a session where I've not done that and just sort of checked my surroundings for, I guess, the men in grey suits, they call them. Today though, we might have a solution. I was contacted by Ocean Guardian, the manufacturers of Shark Shield technology, to give their products a go on some of my boards. The guys wanted to know, first and foremost, did having the Freedom Plus surf setup on the board impact my surfing performance? Well, today I want to test that out and learn a little more about how we as surfers can ensure the safety of both us and sharks in the ocean. The product comes in two sizes, one for boards over 6'6" and one for boards under 6'6". So I set up both my new Chili mid-length and my Hayden Shapes shortboard with one each. I had installed the product 24 hours before. Then to get it working, it's only a matter of putting in the charged power module and turning it on. Oh, well, that was fun. I mean, I got a handful of waves and they were pretty solid. I actually didn't even notice any difference at all in terms of performance. Literally the power module, the weight of it, not that it's even heavy, it just didn't hinder me at all, which is essentially what you want. What I did notice was that there was an increased sense of comfort out in the ocean. I was sitting pretty far out at one stage and I was sort of looking around me and I thought, I'm pretty protected. I actually saw a couple of other people with the Freedom Plus on as well, and they were sort of checking it, and there was almost like this little team of us creating this little field of energy that was protecting the lineup from sharks, which is pretty cool. So I think the real test though will be chucking it on the shortboard and seeing if I notice it here, because obviously the shortboard is a lot lighter than the mid-length. So luckily there's this little hex bolt system where I can literally just undo it like I would a fin and chuck the power module straight into the shortboard just by removing this support block here. Super easy. Alright, I'm gonna get out there. Switched on, activated, sweet. The transferable power module weighs only 250 grams, or 8.8 ounces. Then you've got the tail pad antenna, which doesn't weigh much, so the device doesn't really add a whole lot of weight to my surfboard, but it definitely adds a lot of confidence for me in the water. This is especially because in 2020 alone, Australia experienced 27 shark attacks, with 8 of them being fatal, the worst in 76 years. Ocean Guardian's Shark Shield technology has been independently proven to prevent greater than 60% of attacks. This is a massive number, especially given the testing is in baited and chummed up waters, quite an extreme environment. That's why in 2017, the Western Australian government committed to a consumer rebate program, offering people $200 back when they purchase an Ocean Guardian surf or dive product in store. The tech works by creating an electric field around the user whilst the antenna under the board is submerged in water. See, sharks have short-range electrical receptors in their snouts used for finding food, and the product's powerful three-dimensional electrical field causes these receptors to spasm, which turns the shark away, and this includes great whites.
It's been really important that I did this review in Australia, where you see very clearly some of the current strategies around shark attack prevention, including helicopter and drone observation, and the highly controversial drum lines and shark nets, all of which have severe limitations. Sharks, as you might know, make up an integral part of the oceanic ecosystem, and because the Freedom Plus doesn't actually harm the shark, it becomes one of the most sustainable approaches to preventing shark attacks out there. Now, with all that super interesting and important stuff considered, how does this product impact my performance on the shortboard?
I ended up getting some really fun waves, and most of the time I couldn't even notice the power module and the whole sort of setup. There was only a couple of moments right at the end of doing a cutback where normally it's that final squeeze of the turn where you can get an extra bit of flick and then sort of recompress and keep going. In those moments I felt there was a slight heaviness to the back of the board, but only so slightly.
I wanted to make sure that my experience wasn't just the waves that I was surfing, which at times were a little funky and having an impact on my surfing. So I paddled out at a beachy nearby, which was quite small and gutless. Now, surprisingly, I found that I barely noticed the device in this surf. I did feel a tiny little extra weight in the tail of my surfboard, but found that it didn't really hinder me at all. And I was actually able to put a few turns together, even on small waves, which felt really good. Overall, other than feeling that tiny little bit of extra weight in the tail of my shortboard, this has been a really easy product to get used to.
Your 28 litres 5.9 high performance shortboard might not be the sort of go-to for this sort of technology. I feel like on the mid-length, for example, or on, you know, that sort of beginner to intermediate style surfboard where you're upwards of 30 litres, and you're going to find that you don't even notice this sort of setup, and it brings that peace of mind, which is something that's really important. Anyway, it was really interesting and cool to try it out.
I think the only time that I was a little frustrated with the product was when I was installing it. I'm typically not great with fiddly items, and I just found that the nodes were a little hard to handle during the installation. It made me wonder if there is a way for the node to run around the tail of the board, straight up into the power module, as opposed to wrapping it around the side rail, which would allow for a more linear design. But with that being said, if I can install it, anyone can install it. So it's still an approval from me. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, and let me know in the comments if you've had any experiences with sharks. Do you worry about sharks? Do you want to have an experience with sharks? Let me know and I'll chat to you guys soon. If you want to check out any more from Ocean Guardian, I've put their link in the description below.